أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this is, I believe, our eighth session on the topic of prophethood. And inshallah, we will start a new text today. So very briefly, let's remember what we discussed so far. So we first went through 11th word, where the author was using a story-like explanation, explaining us a setup in which a king invites people to his palace to demonstrate his perfections, beauties, and he also appoints a commander who explains what the purpose of this palace is, and how everything in this palace refers to the king, the maker. So in this sense, this metaphor was an allusion to, in this life, we come to this universe, which is like a palace, and many things out there. There are seemingly good events in life, like sunrise is there, a breeze is there, life is there, everything is there. Sometimes apparently bad things are happening, but overall, it's like an education environment. And in this education environment, we are being reminded of or instructed of a creator. So a messenger is needed for telling us, how am I going to make sense of this existence? Pretty much like when you go to school, you have teachers in there because, I mean, by themselves, textbooks are not being enough to figure out what's going on. And you're interested in a teacher who is a relatable teacher, a human being such as yourself, who can walk you through ups and downs of this education. Because by experience, that person should have gone through the same experience, same education, and know where you're going to not do it so well, what sort of a hardship you're going to face, and then give you an instruction properly, in a nutshell. Then, for the past 4 or 5 weeks, we were going through 18th word, and 18th word was a very interesting text in the sense that it started by saying, human wants to be praised, human wants to be appreciated by others. But the issue is, the things that I would like to be appreciated with does not belong to me. Like Salih is a wrestler there, and he has muscles. And if I say, well, Salih, you look very weak, he's going to get offended. But if I say, oh, Salih, wow, look at those muscles, he will feel secure with those compliments. But the truth is, where does those muscles come from? Because we feel like I own them, it's mine. Of course, I worked hard to get those muscles, is being our general understanding. But if you think about it, what did I put to really make those muscles? Other than attending a school regularly. But attending that school and making those muscles are totally different things, because muscle is a biological thing. You attending school is just your determination. It doesn't have anything to do with building muscles themselves. Somebody else is making the muscles. It's not you. What you're doing is you're just asking, in a sense, say that I would like to have muscles. And being consistently attending the school is just a way to say that, give me muscles, and you are being given muscles. So this is why you shouldn't really feel, well, when somebody says, oh, you have nice muscles, you should say, well, I ask and I am given. So praise be to the one who gives the muscle. So in the first part, this was the idea. Like being the verse that we studied was saying that, really quickly, let's remember the verse. Think not that those who exalt in what they have thus contrived, and who love to be praised for what they have not done, think not that they will escape suffering, for grievous suffering does await them. So in a nutshell, the conclusion of the first point was that any beauty that you would like to be praised with doesn't belong to you. Then comes the second point where the author was then talking about the verse, who has created everything in the best way. Now, this is a very general statement about the creation, and the creator says, everything you see in this creation is created in the best way by its creator. So you should be praising its creator for whatever you see, and everything that you see is in the best way, in the most beautiful way. And he went through this and mentioned us that it's not only you, the beauty muscle on you, yes, it belongs to him, but not only that, sunrise out there, a beautiful tree out there, or a thunder, or a tornado, everything in this existence is created by him, by someone who created in the most beautiful fashion. This was, in a nutshell, the second point. Then we come to a third point. Author, starting from human's ego, then going through the whole existence, comes to the third point, and the verse was, if you love God, follow me, God will love you. It was a very interesting conclusion for the previous two parts, because the first part was about me and falsely me praising myself. Second part was, everything in this creation is beautiful, even the things that you consider to be ugly, such as tornado, for example. Everything is beautiful. Now, in the third point, he was talking about, if you do love God, follow me, God will love you. So how is the relationship there? Since our this discussions for 8 to 10 weeks, we have been trying to understand what does it mean to believe in a prophet? What's the function of prophet in our lives? Now, this really places, this verse is being placed in a very meaningful location. So let's summarize this, because we studied this for the past 2 weeks as well, this verse. If you do love God, what does it mean? We were questioning last week, to love God, because we know what it means to love your mom, what it means to love your child, what it means to love your spouse and whatnot. But what does it mean to love God? And as we were questioning this last week especially, so it turned out that the beauties that we see here, like this beautiful, cute baby, I love her. But what is it that I love at her? And does it belong to her? Because after the first point, actually, what we were saying was nothing belongs to you. So then when I say, oh, she's cute and I love her, actually what I love at her is a gift or a creation of my creator. So actually I do love him. What is being loved is coming from him. It doesn't belong to her. Like if I say, oh, I love Salih because he's a strong guy, but the strength doesn't belong to Salih. So I should really, if the reason for me loving Salih is because of power or strength, then I should rather love the one who is the true source of this strength. But then the question, the verse continues, if you do love God, follow me, God will love you. So as much as I love him, I also would like to be loved. If you check yourself, still, you want to be appreciated, yet you do not know you do not own anything to be appreciated. Like after today's discussion, Salih goes home and says, it looks like nobody's going to appreciate me, yet I would like to be appreciated. Like human has this sense of saying, good job, yet you know that I didn't do anything good. So what am I going to do then? How am I going to handle this feeling? I want to be loved, I want to be appreciated, yet I don't own anything to be appreciated. So this was now the verse which says, if you love God, follow me, God will love you. So there's a way actually for you to be lovable, appreciable, and appreciable by the one whose appreciation really matters. Others' appreciation doesn't matter that much. So then he gave us a explanation for this one. He said, look at this universe, this existence, how beautifully it's being created. It looks like its maker really joyfully, lovingly creates the creation. He does love his creation in the first place. And among his creation, he mentioned, there is human being, which is even a more interesting creation than the rest, because this is able to understand and appreciate. Human can appreciate. Then among all humans, there are differences of appreciation. Atik is not that much appreciative of his creator, but Qadir is a little better. As we are walking here, then Muhammad Sial, mashallah, and then Mustafa. Like, I do see the differences among people when it comes to appreciating their maker, their creator. And then I would say, then whomever appreciates his creator more would be more valuable for the creator because they fulfill the purpose of their life. Then from among the people, the best, the one who appreciated his creator the most would be the most valuable human being. Then comes, this was the first leg of this journey. Then the creator would talk to such a person because this person has a very good character now and would make him an example to the rest of the people. Since this person has this very nice quality, exemplary, beautiful character, this person is going to be shown as an example to everybody else, saying that, try to be like him. This is what I love. If you want to be loved, be like this person. So humans' ability to appreciate the creation, the beauty in the creation, is what makes human valuable. And Prophet ﷺ is the best example of someone who can appreciate this creation, the beauty in this creation. That's why he is mentioned as Habibullah, the beloved of the Creator. To the extent that you would like to be loved, be like him, then you will realize that actually you are being loved as well. This is how this verse was now concluding the two ends. If you do love God, follow me, God will love you. So in one sense, this was another perspective of how to understand Prophet. So in this case, Prophet becomes whom? Prophet is the person who has been a proper human being with his worship. What is worship? Worship in this case is, I don't own anything. These muscles do not belong to me, yet they're beautiful. I do appreciate that muscles are nice, but they don't belong to me. And I praise the owner, the creator of the muscles, not myself. This is worship. And this is only for muscles. You can apply it for your health, for the food that you eat, or anything. Realizing and appreciating that it is beautiful and it is being given to you as a gift, and praising its maker. This is human's duty. And Prophet ﷺ does this worship in the utmost level. This is why when we talk about Prophet, what do we say? Abduhu wa Rasuluhu. He is first an abd, then a Rasul. His perfection in abdness, worship, makes him worthy to become Rasul. Because only the best abd could become the Rasul. Because this is what it means to be best human being. Like, think about it. Who in today's society, who we would like to make as rulers? I mean, in an ideal society, not in states, because we would like to make, I don't know. Anyways, so in an ideal society, a person who is, let's say, knowing more about political relations, a good commander, a smart person and whatnot, you would like to elect this person as a leader of the society. What does it mean to become the best teacher for humanity? The best teacher for humanity should be best human being. But what makes a best human being? Is it the richest human being? Is it the smartest human being? Is it the most strategic human being? The best human being is the best abd. And abd in this case means who can appreciate the beauty in this creation the most, praise its creator the most, not attributing anything to himself and attribute everything to its maker. Such a person can be the exemplary teacher. So in a nutshell, this would be my summary. If you would like to add anything else. Okay, there's some question in those eyes, but would you like to ask or you're good? Okay. So now we are going to the 19th word. And since Abdurrahman has cleansed his throat, I think he can treat it. No, I felt like this was a preparation.
I read it last week.
Or if you don't, then we'll have to ask Sister Zaha, but I don't know.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Okay. 19th word.
Please continue if he starts crying.
Till the end of the first droplet. So just first droplet. It's a short reading.
The 19th word. I could not praise Muhammad with my words. Rather, my words were made praiseworthy by Muhammad. Yes, this word is beautiful. But what makes it so is the most beautiful of all things, the attributes and qualities of Muhammad, peace be upon him. Also being the 14th flash, this word consists of 14 droplets. First droplet. There are three great and universal things which make known to us our sustainer. One is the book of the universe, a jot of whose testimony we have heard from the 13 flashes together with the 13th lesson from the Arabic Risale Nur. Another is the seal of the prophets, peace and blessings be upon him, the supreme sign of the book of the universe. The other is the Quran of mighty stature. Now we must become acquainted with the seal of the prophets, peace be upon him, who is the second and articulate proof, and must listen to him. Yes, consider the collective personality of this proof. The face of the earth has become his mosque, Mecca, his mihrab, and Medina his pulpit. Our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, this clear proof, is leader of all the believers, preacher to all mankind, the chief of all the prophets, Lord of all the saints, the leader of a circle for the remembrance of God, comprising all the prophets and saints. He is a luminous tree whose living roots are all the prophets, and fresh fruits are all the saints, whose claims all the prophets relying on their miracles, and all the saints relying on their wonder-working, confirm and corroborate. For he declares and claims, there is no God but God, and all on left and right, that is, those luminous reciters of God's names, lined up in the past and the future, repeat the same words, and through their consensus in effect declare, you speak the truth, and what you say is right. What false idea has the power to meddle in a claim which is thus affirmed and corroborated by thousands?
Jazakallah khairan. So with this 19th word, now we are starting to discuss, like after those 8 or so weeks, we said that, okay, there must exist a messenger. But how do I say that Muhammad ﷺ is that messenger that I'm looking for? And by studying this text, we will be looking for, if you like, the properties of this person. What makes him different? Why not Khadij, but Muhammad ﷺ is the messenger? Because what should I expect from that person? Because imagine, we are now talking about Prophet ﷺ being a messenger after 14 centuries, after millions and millions of people have confirmed this and pretty much become a thing. But what if you were there in the first place, in the first days, when people were mocking him, saying that you're a lunatic? Like, how did you come up with this fancy, funny idea that God is speaking to you? Why you? Why not to me? Why not to Qadir? And these questions matter to us as well, because how am I going to benefit from this person is going to be shaped by understanding who he is. If I don't see any difference, then Qadir would come one day and say, well, I am also a human being. He was a human, I am a human. Like, if you say revelation, okay, revelation, I am handing you the Quran. Now Quran is here, okay. Like Prophet delivered the Quran, I got the Quran. He was a human, I'm a human. So what? What shall I expect from that human being? So the question is both ways. One is, how would I identify him as being the proper prophet? But also, what would be the outcome of this? I will benefit accordingly. The way I can appreciate that he is better than Qadir, then I will try to benefit from him. Okay? So after this intro, text is there. Any initial comments? There are going to be 14 droplets. This is the first droplet.
Jazakallah for a beautiful summary at the beginning. So as Yusuf reminded us, we're trying to understand the prophethood, right? Not just trying to read some text about our prophet, but we're trying to understand what even it means to be a prophet. So for us, we usually take it granted as if, we know the answer because we're Muslim. The prophet is a central part of being Muslim. But when you think about it in a bigger circle, you realize that the people, especially outside Islam, use the same word, the prophet, to mean completely different things. Right? The prophethood, for instance, in Christianity is completely irrelevant to what we call as prophet. Prophet in other, the religions becomes again very irrelevant to what we believe, at least what we claim to be. There's also the word prophecy used in English in general, and the prophet is relates to, the word prophet relates to this prophecy, which is again completely irrelevant thing. In that sense, it just means someone who makes some prophecies, like predicting future, for instance, right? Fortune teller, exactly. When you look at the Christian, the tradition, the prophet is one who receives some, the not revelation exactly, but some inspirations, right? And trying to make sense of them and so on, but most of them are not clear. But anyway, so when we look at the Quranic definition of the prophet, it is very different and very, maybe sometimes even, I don't want to say strange, but like unlike anything we heard before, right? And here, with all these texts that we studied so far, Imam Nursi is trying to make, the sense of it, trying to introduce us how Quran describes prophet. One thing Yusuf reminded us when we first read the 12th word, the prophet is someone who make it clear for us what this reality means, right? Giving us, showing us the keys for this encrypted artwork in the creation. This is one definition of the prophet, Imam Nursi said, making us acquainted with our lives, with the creation itself. And then its maker. Why, how its maker made this creation. And then with the 18th word, we studied how it becomes like he is the kind of the role model to make a relationship with the maker of the universe. Here, he gives some other definitions as well for the prophet. And he started with the prophet is among the universal things which make known to us our sustainer. So, who is the creator? You know it through the prophet. One source, he says, is the creation itself. And you look at the creation, the artwork, and then the artwork itself tell you about its maker, the artist, right? This is the universe. By looking at the actions of the creator, how he creates things, you know about him. You know about him through his speech, the revelation, Quran, right? But he also says you also know your creator through the prophet. So that's another very interesting definition for prophet, right? So for most of us, even in Islam, among Muslims, prophet means the guy who brought the revelation. That's all. Who received the revelation. May Allah pleased with him, we say. He didn't distort the revelation and then gave it to us. What else? Nothing. Just like a postman, a reliable, good postman, right? He delivered the message and he did his job. This is many Muslims. Sometimes, I find myself in the same situation as well. So check yourself. This is something many Muslim believes. That he conveyed the message and that's it. And then he became let's say, the leader of the society. He was the president because he's the most, intelligent guy, the best strategist, and so on. This is what we believe. But here, author says, no. He didn't just bring the revelation. He lived it, and in that way, he also made us acquainted with the creator through his life, through his actions, through his silence, whatever. We haven't studied that part yet. So that's another definition of the prophet, the one who make us know our sustainer, the human being. And then he gives some other definitions as well within the same text. So this clear proof is the leader of all the believers, preacher to all mankind, the chief of the all prophets. He's talking about the last prophet, Lord of the all saints, the leader of a circle for the remembrance of God, comprising all the prophets and saints. As if he defines the prophet as the top teacher, right? The origination of a school. He's a teacher. He trains his pupils, the scholars, and then they train other pupils and so on and so forth. So the prophet, in this sense, is also a teacher. It's like a beginning of a tradition. Tradition in the sense, it's the education, the school of thought. Is also origination of that. That's another definition for prophet. So when we think about the prophet, then all these different definitions should come together to give us a clear picture of what we mean with the prophet. Receiving the revelation, teaching the revelation, but at the same time teaching about the Creator, but at the same time being a role model for the believers, showing what it means to believe, how to live this belief, and then training other people to have the same, similar duties so that they will train others and so on. So let's read the text from this perspective, like trying to learn what it means to be prophet. He's also talking something very interesting here. I will stop here. I will not talk about that now. But he's talking about the collective personality, şahs-ı manevi of the prophet. Prophet as a collective personality, not just a single person. But like he's talking about the prophethood here, not necessarily this specific prophet. But anyway, we should come to that maybe later.
Yes, any comments, any questions? To start from the beginning then, are we good with the first paragraph where he says there are three great and universal, I would say, teachers, although the translation says things, because in the original text he uses mu'arrif. Mu'arrif means the one who makes you learn something or make you know something. There are three great and universal teachers which make known to us our sustainer. So if I stop there, if I were to ask you that question, what would be your answer? Just think about it for a second so that we can appreciate the following sentence as well. What makes you know your Rabb? And think about it this way, before I get to know what we start talking about what it means to get to know your Rabb. In those nation states nowadays, secondary school, high school, even in primary school, they teach kids what? History of their nation. Is that right? How do they do it in the United States? Do they teach history of the nation from primary school? So it's always there. How our founding fathers suffered and sacrificed so that we should be appreciating them. Right? This is the idea. Do you do this in Pakistan? Right? So how much they sacrificed. So we should be appreciative of them. As if they are sustainers of our independence today. That's why we should be appreciating them. This is the idea, right? Fine. Who is your sustainer right now? The one who has been sustaining you for so many years, physically, biologically, emotionally, intellectually. Who is that person? Who is that one? That is the question. And how much you should be appreciative of that one. Now compare this to how much from your childhood, your government has been putting a lot of efforts making this national education a part of mandatory education for everybody so that they got indoctrinated. I mean, freedom is good and you should be appreciative of your founding fathers and whatnot. But just imagine how much effort is being put there and we appreciate them. So your sustainer, like you're literally sustainer. We are not talking about independence. Your sustainer in all senses. Who is that one? So the question is then, who teaches me that? Because it looks like this is very much more fundamental than founding fathers. So ask the question to yourself, who do you think teaches you about your sustainer? What would you put in the first place? Or maybe a single place. Author is saying that there are three. three major, actually, he doesn't say major, he says universal. Three universal teachers. One is the book of universe. Very interesting choice. He started with the book of universe. He didn't start with the book of Quran. That's an interesting choice that the author does here. So let's appreciate that or try to make sense of it. He starts with the book of universe, says the book of universe itself. Actually, considering, I mean, in those discussions, we mentioned this quite a bit, but just to highlight it once more, considering this universe as a book should be something interesting to be appreciated. It's something to be read and understood, but not understood for the sake of itself. Just you need a novel and you just enjoy the novel. But it's not the point of the novel. The novel should also leave some message behind. So the book of this universe is a book to be read and understood about my sustainer. This is number one. Number two, messenger, he mentioned. And how did he define messenger? Supreme sign of the book of universe. Supreme sign is Ayatul Kubra. Because the book has many ayah in it, many signs in it. Quran consists of many ayahs. Each ayah, I mean, ayah doesn't simply mean a sentence, but ayah means sign. So Quran has many signs. Now the author is saying that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the supreme sign of the book of universe. If you're going to find a verse which is the most brilliant verse of this book, it is Prophet ﷺ. So the book is what teaches me about my creator. He says within the book there is an ayah, which is Muhammad ﷺ. He is a teacher in a different way though, which needs to be mentioned separately. This was the second one. And then the third one, he says, the other is the Quran of mighty stature. The third one is the book, the scripture now, is also telling you about your sustainer. But today's topic is going to be focusing on this second teacher, the supreme sign, which is Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Any comments about this one? Does this make sense? Is it okay? Is it weird? Is it interesting?
Example, like so we open the Quran, and in Quran there's an ayah which says we sent down the rain to feed you animals and so on, right? So there's such an ayah explaining the Lord, the one who sends down sustenance for us. The same way, when we open the book of the universe, what it means, look around you, what happens, what do you see, what do you experience, and so on. There's an ayah there in the creation which tells us that when we need water or when we need, let's say, food, it is sent down from up, the skies. So because when we look at the skies, like when it is raining, for instance, it was snowing today. When it is raining, we look at the skies and the water is coming down, right? When we think about it, we say, okay, like we needed this water, and all these animals needed the water, the plants need water, and it's coming from the skies, right? So this action itself, whatever is happening in front of me, tells me there is a one who knows the needs of these plants, animals, human beings, and you, and he is sending down the sustenance from the sky. So this action itself, this creation, is happening, however you are calling it, telling you about its maker, about its qualities, the one who knows the needs, the one who sustains these needs. So this is an ayah about its maker. You look at another creation, the babies, right? This is another ayah. The ayah is telling me that whoever creates this baby is taking care of him, her, by putting these emotions to the mom, to the father, so that they will take care of her. Right? So this is an ayah telling me about her creator, my creator, mom's creator, and so on. This is an ayah. She gets hungry and food is being served. This is another ayah about the creator. Knowing the needs, providing sustenance, and so on. You see a bird finding its the food in an ocean or the river, just flying, looking at the water, and then diving and getting the fish and eating. This is another ayah talking about, again, the sustainer. Right? We look at the mountains, we read another ayah about its maker. The power, magnificence, whatever you see there. So everything in the creation is an ayah. In that sense, is a sign, is a verse, the ayah verse, like in Quran. So now we are then going to start looking into, as he says, now we must become acquainted with the seal of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who is the second and articulate proof, and must listen to him. Because universe, the book of universe, is not an articulate sign. You need to read it. But now Prophet ﷺ is an articulate proof. He is a sign, an ayah from within the book, but he's an articulate sign. He speaks. But now comes what Brother Birkan was mentioning as an interesting part. Author is talking about collective personality of this proof, which is an interesting term. Let's try to understand what that means. Consider the collective personality of this proof. Before I read the rest of the sentence, let me highlight one point. If Prophet ﷺ would have been in this room, to say that I bear witness that he is the messenger of God, what does this have to do with his physical body? What do I mean by that is, to say that this person is a messenger of the Creator, which is Iman, is based on what? Do you see any sign in his body or something? Or what does it mean to say that I bear witness that this person is a messenger of the Creator? How would you bear witness to him being the messenger of God? What does it have to do with his physical body? Or what portion of it has to do with his physical body? Nothing much? I mean, because none of you have seen his physical body anyways, right? So none of you believed that he is messenger of God because of his physical body anyways. But even if he were to be in this room physically, to believe in him because of his physical body wouldn't be a case. Because
a human being, just like you. So, but what would make him a messenger is what he demonstrates. This is why now we are looking at his collective personality. What makes him a messenger is more than his physical body. This is why now we are focusing on his collective personality. Shakhsiyya manawiyya. Why is this important? Because people are, I mean, for many reasons, but one of the very, I would say, clear reason for that one is, or easy to understand reason, that's just one of the reasons. In this day and age, people are attacking Prophet ﷺ based on just like as if, oh, Mustafa is a human being, like a male, and just imagining him as a male only. Then his actions I judge based on his maleness, and then say, oh, see, he got married a girl of this age, that age, or whatever. Like now we are focusing on some tiny aspect of the human being, which him being a male, and a politically strong male as well. Let's also take this because he was leader of that society. And compare it to strong, politically strong males of our society and what they do with their lives. And they say, oh, his marriages are like their marriages. He was a child abuser. What's wrong in here, though? If you don't want to fall into this trap, what am I being dragged into in this case? I am ignoring the collective personality of this person. What makes him a messenger? Once I see what makes him a messenger, then I will start understanding his actions accordingly, not the other way around. If I reduce him to just looking at him like a male figure, politically strong male figure, reducing it to there, he's not a messenger anymore in this case. And then I will start interpreting actions accordingly. I wouldn't benefit from such a person anyways. So this is why looking at the Prophet ﷺ as a prophet, this is why. What does it mean that he's a prophet is important. It is going to shape many of our understandings. Okay, so let's try to understand that. And as we keep reading, if it becomes not so clear or, well, this is what I used to think already, sort of a feeling comes, please pause us and let's try to revisit the topic. Because the entire text with upcoming droplets as well, this collective personality should be something that we are aiming to understand or establish in ourselves. This is a very important concept because even the subtitle of this 19th word is, he says, the text is about Risalet Ahmadiyya. He doesn't say this is about, I mean, in the original text, he doesn't use the phrase, this is about the prophethood of Muhammad. But he is talking about, I mean, the original phrase is a little, like it's not about Risalet Ahmed. He doesn't stop there, but Ahmadiyya, like he is talking about his collective personality. So this is why in its entirety, one of the major goals of this text is to establish this idea of collective personality of Messenger ﷺ. So let's try to focus on that. Okay, so I'm rereading it and see if there's anything that catches your attention. Yes, consider the collective personality of this proof. The face of the earth has become his mosque or masjid. Mecca, his mihrab, and Medina, his mimbar, his pulpit. So face of earth is his place of sajda, masjid. Mecca is his mihrab, Medina is his pulpit. Our Prophet, ﷺ, this clear proof, is leader of all the believers. preacher to all mankind, and the chief of all the prophets, Lord of all the saints, the leader of a circle for the remembrance of God, comprising all the prophets and saints. Anything you would like to highlight among these points?
Like you were saying,
Okay, we
There
can
is
take the
nothing.
microphone. And there's a power
Right.
button somewhere.
like you were mentioning before we start, there is nothing here about physical appearance or his demeanor, his talk, like nothing about. It's all about what the message he brings. All it's like I was thinking, is there any little thing about that? There is really nothing, 0%. So just wanted to highlight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely the prophet's smile and everything was part of his character. That's correct. But generally, the way we understand prophet as this flesh and bones, this is why I was trying to make this distinction. Jazakallah khair. So this is why that distinction is important. When we say he is a messenger, his messengerhood is way more than his flesh and bones, because this person has passed away. This flesh and bones is not alive anymore. But his prophethood is as alive as it has ever been. So this is what we are now trying to focus on. Because this prophethood, this messengerhood should be as alive with us. And Quran mentioned this as well. If prophet was to die or get killed, are you going to turn back on your heels? This is a verse that was mentioned before the prophet passing away. And actually, this was a big moment in Medina when Prophet ﷺ passed away. So Umar was furious. He was saying that whomever says he died, I'm going to chop off his tongue. So he just went to his Lord, like Musa did. He will talk and will come back. So he was like very angry at this moment. So Abu Bakr comes and reminds of this verse and says, if he were to die or get killed, are you going to turn back on your heels? So his prophethood was not about his flesh and bones. This is why, because the idea could be, as Brother Bikan was mentioning, he delivered the message, he is gone. Now I will take the message, which is Quran. Is it so? This is why we need to see this collective personality.
I think this is extremely important, and for that reason, I guess, talking about the prophet from this perspective, and like what the Imam Nursi is doing here, I think extremely important for us to understand. He's talking directly about the saints, scholars, other prophets, and so on. Because when we say belief in prophet, what do we mean with that? Belief in prophet. If the idea is just that, oh yeah, there must be a prophet who received the message. If this is all it, then the message could be delivered on top of a mountain as well. It will put there, and then some people would find it and take it and then start reading it. If what we mean with the belief in prophet is there must be a guy who received the message. That's it. When we say belief in prophet, as we studied at the very beginning, right? Just like we studied the belief in scripture, we said the belief in scripture is believing the idea that there must be a speech of this creator who creates everything as a speech. There must be a form of this speech in the human language. That's the belief in scripture, right? The creator who creates everything in this universe as a speech must deliver his speech in a way that we can understand the human language. The Quran says in Arabic language, in Arabic. But the idea is there, not the Arabic itself, but the human language, right? So this is the belief in scripture. The same way belief in prophet is for us, there must be a human form of this message, right? A human being receiving this message, living this message, teaching us how to understand, interpret this message, how to tie this message, the revelation, Quran, to the creation, and so on and so forth. This is the belief in prophet. There must be such a guy. But then question becomes, if this is belief in prophet, there's no such guy in my life. What am I going to do? Like, how am I going to believe in such thing? There must be a messenger who brings the message and then leaves it and then teach us and so on and so forth. There's no such thing in my life. So you either genuinely don't believe in prophet, you just repeat it as a, just memorization. You say, oh, I'm a Muslim, I believe in prophet, without meaning much. Or you just take the prophet as simply, oh yeah, there must be a guy who delivered the message. But there's no such, again, utility of such a belief. Because the message can be delivered in many ways anyway. So the belief in prophet, in its true sense, only becomes real when you do not reduce the prophet, as Yusuf highlighting, to the flesh and bone. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, yes, died, but what he represented in our life, in their lives, in Sahaba's life, hasn't died, and it is there somehow for us as well. There must be a way that I connect with the Prophet. There must be a way that I can take Prophet as my role model, that I can take him as my teacher, and so on. The Sunnah, narrations, and so on is part of it. So the belief in Prophet also encompasses in that way, there must be narrations of the Prophet. And then there must be students of this Prophet. There must be scholars who were trained in the tradition of the Prophet up until to my time. The belief in all these collective personality or collective thing becomes the belief in Prophet.
And in this regard, the text is highlighting the face of the earth has become his masjid. This is not a random sentence. Masjid being the face of earth. Like Prophet's masjid, when I say Prophet's masjid, what comes to mind? Masjid al-Nabawi, it's in Medina. No, the author is saying that no, the masjid of the Prophet is the face of earth. Anything that you can put your forehead on is his masjid. A donkey, like it's an animal with a weird sound, is being able to read it as a sign of your creator, to praise your creator by looking at a donkey, like prostrating to your creator by looking at the imagery of a donkey, for example. It becomes a masjid for you now. Do not think about literally, well, wherever you do, just stop your car and pray. This is what it means that surface of earth is masjid. It's not only that, it's much more than that. When he says the face of the earth has become his masjid, for Prophet ﷺ, anything on this earth is something that you can put your forehead on to go to sajda, saying that, oh, this is my creator's creation. With the prophetic perspective, everything in this creation, in this existence, becomes a place of worship. Could it be a tornado? Could it be nice, cute baby? Could it be an earthquake? Whatever. Everything becomes a place of worship for with the prophet's perspective. If you look at his life, he gone through everything in his life. Good things, bad things. He buried all but one of his children. Like, it's not, if you think about it, it's not a very pleasant life, burying so many children of yours. Only one of his children outlived him, and she died 6 months later. So he has been also, in a worldly sense, he lived successful things in his life as well. But all of them, in all of them, it was always a praise of the Creator, prostrating to Creator. So such a person, not taking anything for granted, not taking anything for himself or on the surface value or on itself, but rather seeing everything as a place of worship. This is a very important aspect of the Prophet ﷺ. And if you would like to pay attention to this, just carefully study Prophet's supplications, for example. Don't just look at them as du'as, but what sort of a dua does he make? You will see that this tiny thing that you do not even pay attention to, Prophet makes a supplication out of it. What does this mean? Everything becomes a reason for worship for that person. Entering house, exiting house. Entering restroom, exiting restroom. Eating, drinking. Sleeping, waking up. Whatever. For everything, Rasulullah has a supplication. What does this mean? If you pay attention. He is seeing the sign of his creation on everything. This means everywhere is his masjid. It's not only the mosque that's his masjid. Such a conscious being is what we are talking about. This is why, like, this consciousness is very important. Why? Like, for instance, if you see me as a person who is, like, you just see me as a normal person. Then we start eating, and you say, oh, do you drink coffee? I say, well, I mean, I do drink coffee, but let's take Brother Birkan. He says, no, I don't. Interesting. Everybody drinks coffee. Why don't you? Then he says, oh, yeah, you know, it caffeine and this and that. He explains something interesting. Then it's, let's say, afternoon time, and I put some snack in my mouth. I say, would you like to take? He says, oh, no, thank you. I say, why don't you eat? He says, oh, it's not good for my diet and whatnot. So what would you start thinking about him? He is extremely careful about his diet. He is careful of what he eats, what he drinks, and he's very conscious of eating, like diet conscious. Now, the person we are looking at is super conscious about this creation. The surface of earth became his masjid. He's not waiting to go to the mosque to do dua or prayer or anything. Every facet of life is a sign for him. Through everything in this existence, he can find an excuse to put his forehead to the floor, making sajda. Sajda means realizing your neediness and praising your Creator. This is the first thing he mentions to describe the messenger. So this is very important. This person is extremely careful, not only for his diet, but for everything in this existence. So this is why when we read any narration about Prophet ﷺ, don't take it very lightly. Scrutinize the text and see, how is this different? What is being mentioned in here, how is this different than a regular person's act? Because whom we are talking about is a very careful person. It's not like your average person. Then he talks about Mecca is his mihrab, Medina is his minbar. So author is carefully choosing this. As we said, he's not saying, yeah, his masjid is Masjid al-Nabawi. He didn't say this. But he said Masjid al-Nabawi or Medina is his minbar. Minbar is where the khatib goes to give khutbah. He says, if you would like to listen to Prophet's speech towards humanity, go and check his Medina life. Mecca is his mihrab. Mecca is the qibla. This is the direction that he is directing you towards. And if you really pay attention to Meccan revelation, Medina revelation, you will also see this distinction slightly there. Mecca is going to show you La ilaha illallah in utmost level, in every aspect.
So maybe we can also read it. And if you want to see what he taught to humanity, look at his Medina life. But to understand his Medina life, in what direction this life taking to him and you, look at his Mecca life. So Meccan life will interpret his Medinan life, and this Medinan life will become the model for you to live your own life.
And then he talked about leader of all believers, preacher to all mankind. His message is not specifically to Muslims. It's a speech to all mankind. The chief of all the prophets. This is also an interesting part that now brings us to what Brother Birkan was highlighting. He's talking about, and I'll read this part, and maybe in the remaining 15 minutes, we will discuss this, and probably we'll call this with the conclusion. So, chief of all the prophets, Lord of all the saints, the leader of a circle for the remembrance of God comprising all the prophets and saints. He's explaining this with this following sentence, and let's discuss about this for the remaining 15 minutes. He is a luminous tree. Prophet is a tree. He is a luminous tree whose living roots are all the prophets and fresh fruits are all the saints. He is a luminous tree. What does he refer to here again? Collective personality of him. We are not talking about his flesh and bones, because his flesh and bones was not a tree. It was a human body. But his collective personality is a luminous tree whose living roots are all the prophets. They are not dead roots, interesting, because those prophets are dead. But he says they are living roots. And fresh fruits are all the saints, whose claims all the prophets relying on their miracles, like the prophets' claims, all the prophets relying on their miracles, and all the saints relying on their wonder working, confirm and corroborate. Whatever prophet claims has been confirmed by the past prophets and the saints or scholars who came after him. For he declares and claims, Prophet ﷺ, what was his message? La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. And all on left and right, that is, those luminous reciters of God's names lined up in the past and the future, repeat the same words. And through their consensus, in effect, declare, you speak the truth and what you say is right. What false idea has the power to meddle in a claim which is thus affirmed and corroborated by thousands? What's your take from this tree analogy? What do you think? Yes, microphone.
I think there's a couple of things that come to imagination, like roots, like two things. Roots point towards a tree, so it's like they all converge in like the last thing that comes out of the soil, right? Like the last prophet. But also like in a similar note, like these are things that came before, right? Like the roots of a tree are the things that like spread like first, and then after that is when like that lays the foundation of the tree. And I feel like in that sense, like that's how I kind of see the analogy, like the saints coming first and laying the foundation for the last prophet, the most, I guess, like the most grandeur thing in this analogy.
I think also the imagery of the tree reminds me of just trees as something that provides like sustenance in various different forms. So here it talked about like the fruits and the roots, but not even those, just other aspects of the tree like we use for different things too, like the bark, all of it serves like a sort of purpose, and I think it serves as like a reminder of the sustainer. So in the beginning, we were talking about the first sentence, there are three great and universal things which make known to us our sustainer. So I think the like using the tree example kind of reminded me of just this purpose of like getting to know the sustainer and like seeing like the prophet as a tree, which is a form of which does give like a form of sustenance to us. So that's kind of what I thought about when I saw this analogy.
Yes, Kadir.
Making sure.
The line it says the chief of all prophets, and then it later down explains what it means as to roots. So my question is like, what does it signify? Or like, if we read the Quran, it's like everything has been taught to the prophet through the Quran. Basically, that's what I understand. So how does it make the prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, chief of all of the prophets? I understand the later that he is getting knowledge from them, and the prophets being the foundation, and like they are a learning source for our prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But how do we get to the point of him being the chief of all of the prophets?
Jazakallah khair. This is a good question. Actually, at the end of the previous paragraph, he used a phrase, which is a well-known phrase, but he put it in here, so we could also question why did he mention it. We must become acquainted with the seal of the prophets, who is the second and articulate proof. So what does it mean that he is the seal of the prophets? Khatamul Anbiya. So the last prophet. So what's the significance of this? There is a comment there.
Actually, this is a question I've heard a lot. In my recent travel, I actually had a discussion with someone close to me, and they were asking, so why did the prophet have to be the last one? Why, like that, like if all of this is true and there were prophets before, why not one during our time? Like, why are we left in the dark almost? Kind of, that was a question. And I think it was also, there were many questions that kind of stem from there. And collectively, they kind of, they do create this environment where, or this perfect scenario where like you can't build faith on top of this, right? So I think that is an important question if we can explore that as well. Like if you have these questions, it was kind of like, yeah, I pray, I fast, but why did he have to be the last prophet? Like if you're telling me to follow all of these things. So that question, I think if we can explore that, that's an important one. And it was kind of coming from a point where I was feeling like perhaps if they live with this doubt and don't seek out the answer, it could derail them completely. Like you could probably build a lot of questions on top of that and go the other way, I guess.
I guess when I think of something like when I think of this phrase, seal of the prophets, I think of sort of the purpose of like an actual seal. So, for example, in my lab, a lot of like our tools and things, like all of our materials come in these packages with like a seal of protection on them. So, and I think it's the same with like grocery stores too. Like if you buy like a jar of something or medicine, there's like a seal that like shows you if the product has been tampered with or damaged in any way. So you like aren't confident that like the contents are pure anymore. So the same with a letter. Like if you have like those old seals, you stamp it on like an envelope and it like seals whatever's inside. So the message is it can't like be tampered with or like changed in any way. So I sort of thought of it that way, where seeing like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the seal of the prophets is sort of a sign towards that preservation of the message from the Creator. So that's kind of how I thought about it.
Jazakallah khairan. So I guess the two questions are very related, but the reason that the author was mentioning the collective personality of Prophet ﷺ is an important part. So that's why he is saying that the prophethood starts with the roots. It's a live tree. Prophethood is a live tree. It's not like cut off. It has roots. Many more prophets have come before the Messenger ﷺ. And after Prophet ﷺ has come many students of the prophets. Yes, they did not receive revelation because Quran has been protected. Like the need for another prophet didn't arise because the message was there always. Message was never hidden. Yet, who is going to practically practice in your life? This is a very important aspect of messenger. Because if you think about it, right after Prophet ﷺ passed away, like still, the idea should have been something like, I don't know, what's it? Avatar. Once one of the avatars die, another one gets something. So it's not the idea. Like practically speaking, where do we observe? This tree is live. The message has been revealed to people. And then students of Prophet ﷺ, which was Sahaba, took over the duty of, I mean, it was always there, but took the duty of distributing the message, delivering the message. This is what he refers to here as saints. And to this day, this tradition of practicing prophetic tradition is alive. So in your life, still this messengerhood is alive in your life. Because what is it that we expect? Revelation is there. Quran as revelation is there. And prophetic practice of revelation is also there. What is remaining is, but today I would like to see it in a human being, in the mirror of a human being. It shouldn't be like a nice theory that stays nice on paper, but not practically relevant to my life. Because there are many theories which looks nice on the paper, but when it's applied to real life, it never works, or it didn't work. Like socialism, communism, very nice on paper, like equality among people and whatnot, but it didn't work. So observing this message in life is still a need for everybody. But how is this realized today? With saints and scholars, it has continued so far and still goes today. That's why the author is saying that today, the fresh fruits of this tree are still accessible to you. If you would like to take it one step further, actually you can become a fruit of this tree as well. By going through this prophetic tradition, benefiting from this tree, you will become a fruit of this tree, and others can benefit from you as well. This is part of prophetic collective personality of Prophet ﷺ. If we understand what it means, collective personality of prophets, we wouldn't say why there is no prophet today. Because we would say, well, still, prophethood is an alive tree even this day with its fruits. It's an alive tree with the roots, with the trunk and everything. And today, I do see prophet alive everywhere through different manifestations in different people, different scholars, different saints. But the question is, am I concerned about learning? This is the important part. If I need to get attached to or benefit from this tree, then I will find those people and will try to benefit from them. We'll try to eat from this tree. What is the alternative? The alternative is, and it's common, I have heard it from different backgrounds, like in Turkey, it's common. Now that I'm being exposed to Pakistani diaspora, I'm realizing that it's everywhere, not only in Turkey. So book is enough. Like Quran is enough to me, for example, is being an alternative understanding, which is quite out there. And even this is good. Another one is science is enough for us. Like many variations of such ideas there, just look where you are. If you are asking the question, and it's a good way to ask that question, saying why there is no prophet today, we should ask the question, what were you expecting to benefit from the prophet's message? A practicing person in life? And these are still alive though. Like the message is still there. The message being implemented in life is still there. Students of the messenger is still here. So the message is not hidden. So what else do you expect? If you are really looking into it, it is there. By asking the question, if your intention is something else, it's up to you. I cannot say anything. But if it's about what are you going to do with the prophet, maybe we should ask that question. Tell me and I am going to bring it to you. Okay? If we cannot find it, yes, we will together ask from God. And if he doesn't give it to us, we will become disbelievers. Agreed. But let's see, what am I going to do with the prophet? If he comes, are we going to ask him to make this mountain into gold? Like, what's going to be the use of prophet for you? If whatever we have doesn't work, yes, okay, we will look for. That's why the author is saying this tree of prophethood has roots in the past prophets and has fruits, fresh fruits, in your time as well. And past and the present are all of them are confirming the message of the Prophet. They are coming with the same message. They are pointing to the same, like they're putting their finger on the same message. Every one of them is confirming the same message. And hence, such a strong, like all of them are coming from the Creator. This is the important part. They are not coming from their own ideologies. This is what adds it up.
I think it's, again, what is important there is what you really mean with prophet and what you really mean with believe in prophet. Because if you take it as a historical thing, I mean, let's be honest, there's no way. Let's assume we can believe in the life of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam because of all these, the recorded text and so on. Let's assume that we can believe in that historically. How can you believe in Moses? Historically speaking. How can you even believe in Jesus? Historically speaking. There's no way, like, don't trick yourself. If you are taking it as a historical thing, there's no way anyone in this life can believe that the Prophet Adam, Prophet Moses, Prophet Suleiman, no way. How can you believe in that? What I mean with the belief, I'm not talking about wishful thinking. I'm not taking that, okay, I take it as true. Yeah, you can do that. You can say that Quran says so, so I believe. Good, you can do that. When I say believe, I'm talking about like, I believe I have 5 fingers. I believe in that. I can prove it to you. Look, right? The same way I believe that there must be a creator of these fingers. How? I can show you, right? The qualities I show, and you say, okay, yeah, it makes sense. There must be a creator, you say. Again, if you take it as historical thing, how can someone believe in Moses? No way. We don't have anything left from him. If you take it as a physical thing, the historical thing, same applies even to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, right? So when we say believe in prophet, again, what we mean for any human being lived at any time, there must be a template person, a model in their life. There must be someone who teaches them the revelation, who teaches them about the creator, and he wouldn't be a regular person. Wherever they look, they will see nothing but the artwork of the creator. Just like the author said at the very beginning, the entire universe becoming his masjid. There must be such a man, I say. Right? This is the belief. There must be. Otherwise, what I have here, this 5 finger, don't make any sense. There must be someone who can explain me why I have these 5 fingers. What is the purpose of it? How am I going to use it? What is the point of it? There must be a message explaining this, and there must be someone who uses his fingers in the right way. There must be such a person. Otherwise, my entire life doesn't make sense. Whoever created me this way, whoever created me with these 5 fingers, and whoever created me with this question, how am I going to use these fingers? Am I going to use them to steal something? Am I going to use them to push other people and hurt? Am I going to use them to, show my mercy to a child? How am I going to use them? In one situation, in another situation, how am I going to eat food? In a proper way, in a way, as we discussed a few weeks ago, right? Last week actually, in a way that would make the giver of these fingers pleased with me. How am I going to do that? I have these questions, then there must be someone who will show me this, to have to use my fingers in such a way. There must be such a person. This is the belief in prophet. I say there must be, and I believe in that. And if somebody tells me, well, do you know what? At that time that this Pharaoh lived, the Egyptians lived, whatever, there was a prophet for them who called Moses. I say, yes, there must be such a person. I don't know what his name. Quran says his name was Moses. Okay, I can take it. I can believe that. But I already know that there must be such a person there. For humanity, again, I say there must be, this is a strong belief now, firm belief. There must be a prophet for all stages of humanity, every stage of humanity, every humanity change. There must be a template for it. I say, there must be. For different needs of humanity, there must be different sharia, different rulings, meaning different interpretations of the creation. There must be. Otherwise, it's not wise, which doesn't, which does not agree with the wisdom I see in the creation. If there's a wisdom in the creation I see everywhere, then there must be a prophet for every stage of humanity at large. And Quran says yeah, we sent down that many prophet for different people, for different, the types of livings and whatever. I say, yes, there must be. It agrees with my reality. I say, now I believe in that. So we hear the narrations, for instance, before Prophet Muhammad والسلام, became prophet, Christian scholars, they were looking for a new prophet. But they were saying that there must be a prophet coming. We were, what is it? Given müjde. Yeah, but we were promised, let's say. Yeah, we were promised with by the previous prophet that there will be, and they were in need of it. Why? For them, the access to the message was blocked. For them, they were not be able to find a template person, a role model, a model that they can imitate, they can, take as the guide. They were not able to find such people around them anymore. And they were saying that there must be another one coming, and I'm waiting for it. Like these narrations we hear, wait. Like they were waiting for them because they had this need. And this need, again, as we believe, firmly believe, must be fulfilled. Otherwise, whoever created these people was not wise. But I see nothing but wisdom in the creation, nothing but justice in the creation. So there must be a new prophet coming for them. So the question, the Quran says, with this prophet, I completed the mission. That's the claim in the Quran. What it means? It means whoever lives after that moment, right? After Prophet Muhammad's time, whoever lives, for their needs, this message, the people living this message, showing them in practice and so on, will be always there. Quran says, we are the protector of this revelation, right? So giving us a guarantee that wherever you live, at whatever time you live, there will be always an access to the message and then to the practical living of this message. You will always have the access. So that's the guarantee. At least that's the claim. Now you ask yourself, I have these needs. Like I genuinely have these needs. If you don't have these needs, like there's no point of talking anyway. I have these needs. What are they? Every day I wake up, I want to know what is the best way to greet my children, to greet my wife. Because last night I couldn't sleep. And I'm so tired and I'm so angry, whatever happened. And I'm about to burst, and I want to know what would my prophet do in such a situation. I go to work, I have another situation. Let's say somebody is celebrating something I want to celebrate. I have this question, like it's really there. How am I going to act? What is the best way to act in such a situation? I have these needs. And I say, I believe in prophets. What does it mean? I say, I believe there must be a way for me to know the answer to my question. How am I going to act? How am I going to interpret what is going on in front of me? There must be a source for that. I say, this is the belief in prophet. And I look, always I find it's either a narration from the Prophet ﷺ, or from another scholar who claims to learn whatever he's doing, she's doing, by following the Prophet's tradition, I always find these examples in my life. Once upon a time, I was, thinking about how should I buy a house? Should I use this type of thing, that type of thing? Should I ask for loan? Should I, whatever. I'm thinking about it constantly. And there are many examples in front of me. At the time of the Prophet, there was no mortgage, there was no such things. But somehow his teachings translated into such a thing. How should you act? If you look for it, right? And I find every time I look, not speculate, not just sit and, oh yeah, the humanity is going in a terrible way. Nowadays, we cannot even trust these scholars. They are just there for fame and so on. If you're just speculating, yes, you will not find your answers. But if you look for them, the guarantee is, the claim, let's say, is you will find them. If you look and if you cannot find them, then you ask, I believe in Prophet, but I couldn't find it. So it's again, what do you mean with the belief in Prophet?
So let's conclude here. And inshallah, we can continue from here next week because we are a little over time. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة